Hi, and welcome to the Conscious Marketer Podcast. This is Richard Tobinger. I'm the CEO of Conscious Marketer, and I am also joined by Kylie Slav at Hi, Kylie.
Hi.
And today we have a topic which is something we call social media siphoning. It's a list building method that we teach. And, one of the more powerful things to do is to be able to build an email list that you have direct access to. And often creators have come to us, and authors and therapists, and often they don't have their own distribution list, but they have, a list on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or one of the platforms. And so what we sometimes share with them is how to siphon the emails off, which is kind of like, I guess siphoning would be used to like siphon gas or something. But the word siphon is basically moving fluid or emails from contacts from one place to another place. But in this case, we want to move it from a platform that we don't control, which is normally the social media platform, to a place where we actually do control the list and have direct access to it. So I think there are a couple ways that we can do this. Kylie, do you want to kind of lead off and share with our listeners some of the ways that we take, say, a Facebook page or group or an Instagram page or group and then actively move them onto our email list?
Sure. So the first thing that I've been doing for the last 10 years, which I think has been really effective, is not just to post a link and say, hey, join my webinar, but to add a ton of value in your actual post and talk about the benefits and show people what life could be like on the other side of your training or information. And then ask people, do you want more information? And then I either put it in their inbox, or I put it in the comments on the post, or I email it to them. Sometimes if you send a link to too many people in the inbox, like on Facebook, for example, Facebook gets a little sketchy about that. Like they think you're spamming people, even though people have given permission. So sometimes I just say, what's your best email? And then this is more labor intensive, but I guarantee you'll get more people to opt into your training or your ebook or whatever it is that you're doing. Another thing I'll say, when you post on platforms, when you share a link, you've probably noticed this on platforms, unless you're like on Twitter and everybody's link sharing all the time, then it doesn't get as much engagement because Facebook doesn't show it as much to people. And the reason is because they like to keep people on their platform and not send people externally to a link. So it just gets buried in the algorithms. So I will make a post with a picture, and then I will say link in comments, and I'll put the link in the comments, and I'll get way more people opting in when I do it like that. So just to even backtrack a little bit more, you have to have a really good lead magnet, whether it's a webinar, an ebook, an audio. You want to make sure that that's relevant to what your people are going through. And when you start to get really good at that, you can build your list from any platform that you're on.
Yeah, and we'll find authors with like 250,000 people on their list, but then if you look at their email on the, say, like their social platform, they might have 250,000 people on their page. But then you're like, what's your email list size, in your CRM system, so that you can contact these people without paying for it. Sometimes their list might be 10,000 people. So there's a huge opportunity. And so I think one of the higher principles is that I think there's two principles I can share. One is that you always want to be posting content that is moving people from the social platforms onto your email list as a general principle. And the second principle is you also want people to be on multiple lists. So if somebody's on your email list and join, say, on your website, you actually want them on your Facebook list too. And so it's kind of like a two-way street. So you want to have people on your Facebook feed. You want to have people on your YouTube subscription list. You want to have people on your Instagram. And what this creates is a web. The most important list is going to be your email list, though. The first rule of email list siphoning is you siphon toward your email list first, because then you can contact them and retarget them and invite them to do things. And then the second rule is you basically want them to have it be like an octopus, where no matter where they go, they can see you. If they go on their Instagram feed, you're there. If you go on their your Facebook, you're there. If they go to their inbox, you're there. And so you create kind of a network where when you start to do a launch, then you're going to be in numerous places at numerous times. So I think these higher principles are really important just to understand the concept. And just to go a little bit further, I guess the follow-up question that I would be asking would be, well, how often do I post just content versus like trying to get people on a list? Kylie, do you have any thoughts on like the ratio of like how many times I should be opting somebody into some kind of giveaway, say organically on my Facebook feed versus just posting maybe pure content?
Sure. I've heard it since I first came online. I heard it said you want 80-20 or 90-10. And I think that's a good general principle or general rule to follow. So that would mean if you're posting every single day, you might make an offer like every 2 weeks, a free offer. Now, for me personally, I try to post content pretty regularly and get that engagement going. And I'll share a webinar or a free training just when I have it.
Right.
So that might not be every 2 weeks, but because I'm consistent and I'm posting regularly valuable content, then on a frequent basis, a couple things happen. People trust me more because I'm giving them so much value that when I go to give them something where they have to give me their email address, then they're already trusting me to opt in. And the other thing is because Facebook sees that I'm making good content that people really want to engage with, or Instagram sees it, or whatever, those are my primary channels, then they are more likely to favor me in the algorithms, because the algorithms, everybody wants to make this big deal about the algorithms. Like, oh, the algorithms are burying my content, or, oh, the algorithms changed again. The algorithms are changing while we're talking. They change all the time. But what they favor is content that people like. If people like your content, the algorithms are going to give you more playtime. If people don't like your content, the algorithms are not going to give you airtime. So it's really about also taking the time to figure out what do people like and giving them more of that. And I'm not saying like sell out and water down your message or be cheesy, but find out what it is about your message people are resonating with and continue to build on that. And then when you go to post your link, or you go to share your free class or your video series or whatever it might be, you are then creating an ecosphere where more people are seeing it and more people are engaging with it.
Yeah, that's such a good comment. I think that the idea that the algorithm's hurting me, I think part of it is you just have to keep creating copious amounts of like really great content and just getting it out there. And I would just follow up on what you said too, because there's like cycles. And I would say that some people are pulling people from their Facebook on an ongoing basis, almost like a weekly basis. They have some kind of like opt-in, and you can totally follow that method. And then others are a little bit more kind of like what you described, Kylie. It's a little more time sensitive, where there's periods where you're giving a bunch of value, and then there's a launch period where you maybe you're offering something, and so you might be building your lists there. So I think you have to kind of find your own rhythm. But as a general idea, I don't think you can ever really be trading value pieces of content that people need for emails. I don't think you can do enough of that. I think that the more ideas you can create, guides and micro trainings and pieces of values, it could be meditations or free live events and things like this that people can opt into, I think the better. And normally we suggest people like focus on one platform first, and then as you're developing other platforms, then it's the same thing goes. You can cross post the lead gen, which is really a siphoning onto your email list. I'd like to kind of end this particular idea, this idea. Hopefully the core idea in this, just so that we're clear, is like the role of social media is to get people off social media. Sometimes I explain it as in like social media, there's all these distractions and ADH. And so even if people are in a private group there, they're distracted. They're doing so many different things. And so you want to bring them into your world. You want to kind of see yourself as going into a bad neighborhood and bringing somebody into safety, or going into shark infested waters and bringing them to shore. And the shore is your email list. The shore is in a inner community or your website or your membership site or whatever. So it's kind of bringing them in. I want to end the talk though with just talking a little bit about kind of the ultimate siphoning method is a way where you can just pay social media for the contacts, and that's through paid advertising. And we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about how, and paid advertising is probably another 10 episodes, but paid advertising is basically you paying for the right to be in front of somebody, to have the opportunity to get that email, hopefully at a cost that is less than what you can convert them on the back end. And so the ultimate siphoning method is to be able to go to Facebook and pay like $2 for a contact and know that you can, maybe that contact's worth $5 or $10 after you sell them something. And so the ultimate way to actually grow your list is to, I think there's an organic method, and then there's three methods: organic, there's paid, which is what we're talking about, and there's affiliate. And a lot of affiliate traffic is also, it's taking other people's lists and then bringing those people onto your list as well. So you can see the theme here is you're moving people either from an organic post, a paid ad, or an affiliate promotion, and you're bringing those people into your list by exchanging something for free. And so if you can understand this idea, it's actually kind of a game changer, because then you'll realize that this is kind of like your primary, it should be one of your primary focuses every time you go on social media. It should be, how do I get people from there onto my lists, versus, we see people sometimes like, how do I grow my Facebook page from 10,000 to 20,000 people? And I'm like, well, we can look at that, but your email list is only 1,000 people. Why don't we focus on getting some of those people onto your distribution list first as the first priority, which is more important, I think, And so you just have to order. It's not that growing your Facebook group or page is a bad thing. It's just the priority really in the long term is to grow your own email list. And I can tell you why, because we have clients frequently. I mean, it just happens, but clients get banned from platforms, client accounts get shut down. Even my own account was restricted, which meant I couldn't post anything for about a month and a half because I had moved countries and they thought I was the same person. But it took me a month and a half to get out of that particular roadblock, But if I was relying on just the Facebook contacts for my income or for my business, I would have been in trouble there. But because I have an email list that we've built up through the years, it wasn't as important. And then also turn to other platforms too. So you have any other thoughts on this kind of concept that we've been talking about today, and where our listeners can kind of take it to improve their business?
Well, I do. I'll say one last thing, and that is, if you're kind of like, who is on my page or my profile, who's going to want these things? If you're just starting out, which some of you are advanced, some of you are not so advanced, you can always start a Facebook group. And one of the things they let you do is ask questions, a forum for people to sign up. And we collect email addresses that way also. So when somebody applies to be in our group, we ask for their email address, and then we're able to put it on our list. And so that's another thing you can do. We have an amazing, I think it's episode 12. We have an amazing interview about Facebook groups with Harlan Kilstein. And I think you would really, really enjoy that if you're kind of starting out and you need to figure out how to build your list from organic social media traffic. Richard briefly mentioned affiliate marketing. We have another episode on that as well. So scroll on through, check out some of that, and that'll help you get started in that direction too.
That was such a good tip, that one where a group, you can collect their email address on the entry into the group. So yeah, this is a fun topic. Thanks everybody for joining us. Again, we're here to serve, to help you get your message out in the world, help you make an impact, and also to help you increase your income so that you can create more change in the world. And if you want to get the show notes for this podcast, you can go to consciousmarketer.com/podcast. That's where we list all the podcasts, and you can download episodes, and you can also find us obviously on iTunes and Spotify. And give us a like, or share this with other people. That's the only request we ask. And if you'd like to work with us, you can we have our accelerator program up. That's our core one, where we help you build your either a interview series if you need to build your list, or your core anchor program. And we also have our Source Mastermind, which is a higher level program. It's a 1-year mentoring program. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.